Hello and welcome to today's edition of Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness, a project of the Endow America Network Foundation, and I'm national spokesperson for socialsacharity.org. You can find that on your website, socialsacharity.org, and learn more about what we're doing with Social Charity and Section 664 of the Internal Revenue Code. We also have a council of professional philanthropic advisors because the role of the philanthropic advisor is becoming more and more important in today's world. We need to find a way to build the charitable wealth in the country. We need to find a way to increase the amount of endowment that there is in the communities to be able to support nonprofit organizations, take the burden off them so they don't have to raise as much money, because that's a difficult chore in many instances. And it's one of the things that they get consumed with because they need to keep money flowing. The larger corporations, larger nonprofit organizations, they do get grants from the government, and we'd like to be able to change that as well. I think it's better if the grant comes from the community and from the people in the community. We have as a guest this morning, our first guest is Dawn Franks. Dawn is a chartered advisor in philanthropy in Tyler, Texas, and is a member of the Council of Professional Philanthropic Advisors. Good morning, Dawn.
No, she's not there yet.
Oh, okay.
It's like,
good morning,
I don't
Wanda.
see her. Good morning. Hey.
How are you?
It's me instead.
Yeah, no problem. We need to have some signal somewhere so I can see whether the people are on.
Oh, usually she'll pop up.
All right. So in any case,
she's calling in just a few minutes.
Dawn has agreed to be interviewed this morning. We can talk about how she deals with philanthropy and how you doing.
Her website is Your Philanthropy. It's tricky.
Okay.
Your Philanthropy. So
and
meanwhile, you can check out Dawn.
Did you have any feedback from last week's show? We interviewed Randy Fox, and
we got there are apparently a lot of views out there, which we appreciate. And if you have any questions, by all means, leave them on our Facebook page. And we are Facebook Social Charity. It's really easy to find. It's kind of easy if you're good at spelling.
Yes. Social Charity, SECHARITY. It's probably up on the Chiron.
But you'll find it. And of course, we're on Miami Community Newspapers. I can't seem to find us at the moment, but yeah, okay. We should be live here right now. And then we'll be replaying throughout eternity. Lots of lots of information. So.
Yeah, so the important aspect of what our work is all about is creating endowing America, trying to move us from 30 trillion in debt to 30 trillion in endowment. It's going to take a while to do that.
It will.
But we need to be
all hands on deck.
Yes, everybody needs to be a participant.
Yes.
And you can participate not only by using money, you can use non-cash assets. And that's one of the planning advantages of using Social Charity, is that you can use non-cash assets in that planning. You need to talk to a professional philanthropic advisor. I am an advisor in the community in Dade County, Florida, here in South Florida. I'm also a member of the Council of Professional Philanthropic Advisors. And if you want to find out more information about any of the members of that council, you can go to the website Endow America Network Foundation.
Or if you'd like to become an advisor.
Absolutely.
We need advisors.
We encourage all prospective philanthropic advisors to take courses that will help them be educated to be able to do this kind of work. It is a unique profession, and there are only 2,200 chartered advisors in the country, chartered philanthropic advisors. Chartered advisors in philanthropy, and that number should be increased dramatically. We need to get to the point where we have almost as many chartered advisors in philanthropy as we do CPAs. You know, the theory is that CPAs help you inherit the IRS, and CAPs help you disinherit the IRS. So if you want to reduce your taxes and you want to do something for yourself in the form of increasing your income for retirement purposes, something that supplements Social Security, then you need to consider using Social Charity devices. Those devices are charitable remainder trust, charitable gift annuities, and pooled income funds. And those may be terms you've heard, maybe somewhat familiar with, or not familiar with at all, which is what most of the times I hear. How come I've never heard about that before? How come nobody's ever told me about this? Sounds too good to be true. All of those things apply to this kind of planning because it's unique in the sense that you can actually take back taxes. I used to have a radio show called Funny Money, which was running for over 10 years.
I'm sure it's somewhere.
Pardon me?
I'm sure if you Google it somewhere you'll find it. It's out there.
Up there somewhere.
Somewhere.
And so the theory of funny money was it actually started with a Monopoly game with my nephew. And, the object of the game of Monopoly is to travel around the board, get the hotels, and bankrupt the other players.
And don't go to jail.
And my nephew had all the money. So I said, what can I do with this, Uncle Les? I said, you got to put it back in the box. I said, why is that? He says, because it's funny money. You can't spend it on milk. And I thought about that for a second. I says, boy, I gave you 25 cents of real money for every dollar of that funny money. How much would you give me? I'll give it all to you, Uncle Les. That's what everybody says. So
I give you all my money
for nothing. Yeah,
you're
getting something for nothing. So, like the game of Monopoly, we can do planning that can help you get hold of some of that money that you just default to the government. Sometimes don't really think about trying to save it, and yet you can get some value out of those tax dollars if you plan properly. So I'm aware now that Dawn has joined us.
No, she hasn't. Actually,
another screen. Somebody on the screen.
That is you. You're
okay.
I'm gonna say your family. Our photographer for the. I don't want to give it all away.
So let's just
switch them. Yeah.
Let's do you.
Are you ready?
Yes.
He looks ready. Yes.
Yeah, please.
Can you?
Yeah, let me do a little bit of an intro too.
Here's a little intro. Do you want to play the intro and then you do the intro?
Yeah.
Do the intro.
So we're going to go out of order today a little bit.
Hey.
And we're going to have.
It's cool. It's cool.
What I consider a rising philanthropist. Yes.
Yes. Photographer.
Wait. Do you love the Holy Land of Israel? Then you're not going to want to miss this. I'm Yehoshua Aryeh, an artist based right here in Jerusalem. I've just released a fine art coffee table book full of photographs of the land of Israel. From Jerusalem to the Sea of Galilee, the Dead Sea, and so many other magnificent locations. Go check out our Kickstarter and secure your early copy now.
Good morning. Good to see you. Can you hear me?
Good evening by me. I'm here in Jerusalem.
Hey. Yeah. What time is it there? It's morning?
It's just past 6.
Oh, wow.
Just past 6 p.m.
So just to give some background, Yehoshua is related to me. He's married to my granddaughter. They live in Jerusalem. And this project that they've embarked on is very important to them and to their future, as well as to the world, so the world can see the beauty of Israel. This Kickstarter program, why have you engaged in this Kickstarter program, Yehoshua?
Well, printing a fine art coffee table book is a pretty, I guess, a pretty great endeavor. And
Okay.
with that comes a lot of cost. You can't just print a few of them. You got to print a few hundred at a time. And the price of offset printing so many copies adds up. And in order to, instead of kind of fronting all the costs ourselves, we are opening up Kickstarter as a pre-order so people can purchase the books before we've even made them, and with the goal of raising the money to pay for the printing of the books. So it's a win-win for everyone. We get to print our books, and people get it at an early copy, reduced price for jumping in early and trusting in us and believing in us and supporting us. And by doing that, we're able to create such an amazing book that might not be possible otherwise.
So, and this book is a compilation of your works,
Right.
and those works, the book is a fairly large book, and it has to be because the works that you do are very large as well. Tell the listeners a little bit about some of the methods that you use in order to get the clarity in these photographs, because some of them are. What's the largest one that you've got out in the public right now?
We have a few installations over 15 feet wide. Our photographs can go, most of them, up to 24 feet wide. The print, that's split into multiple pieces. So it's not one large print, because to create the print at such a high quality, there aren't printers that can print a photo that size in such a high quality. So we split it into 8 different pieces. And then they're all hung next to each other, but it looks like as one large print.
Cool.
You know, a lot of people think that photography is a real simple art form.
Who are these people?
And you can take, you can snap a photo with your phone. But tell us a little bit about when you first of all, how do you pick a site? How do you pick a topic? Because the things that you have photographed are magnificent, and I want the audience to get an idea of what the process is to pick a site, and then when you're at that site, what is involved with actually getting this photograph the way you want it.
Right. So first of all, I have chosen to focus my craft on specifically the land of Israel. There's many, many amazing photographers around the world that have captured so many beautiful places all around the world, and I feel that Israel has been misrepresented or is lacking such beautiful photography. So that's why all my artwork is specifically from Israel. Even though Israel is such a small place, smaller than I believe New Jersey, the state of New Jersey, but within Israel is so many different climates and scenery, and the diversity is amazing, from the desert in the south to the snowy mountains in the north. So my wife and I together, we research different places to visit in Israel, and we'll usually spend a few days in a certain area, and that has a mix of scouting out specific spots, and which sometimes we go to and the lighting isn't right or the season isn't right, so we'll take a note of that and come back at a different time. And sometimes it's about just stumbling upon an amazing location, an amazing scene. We just happen to be driving on the highway and pull over and, wow, this is unbelievable. And we'll park the car and go for a walk. Now we have our baby daughter who's going to be 2 in June. So that adds a little more fun to it, where we bring her along. So it's this combination of having fun and enjoying the scenery. And also it's our job, it's our career, and the pressure is on to get the right shot.
Now you have a gallery in Jerusalem, the YA Gallery. Is that right?
Yeah.
YA Gallery. And do you want to give us some information as to how people can help you in the Kickstarter campaign by purchasing this phenomenal work of art that you've put together?
The website's right up there, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, they can go. The link is on our website on the whole page, and if you go to yfunart.com/book, it'll take you right to the Kickstarter page. There you'll find the video with more about the book and details about the different options, different rewards. There's a standard edition book, and then there's a collector's edition book that comes in the size of 4 feet wide, and that's a really special piece. And we really love the support. We've gotten so much great feedback from our project, and it really comes down to, it's not just a book of nice photographs. It's a book of meaning. Each photograph, I write a personal written reflection, which is included within each page of the book to go along with the photographs. And in those writings, I talk about the historical context of the location, the spirituality behind the photograph, the experience I had taking it. So it's a really an amazing book that gives people a window into a side of Israel that they might not have seen. It's a side of peace and beauty, and we're really excited to share it with the world.
Awesome.
And human kindness is a part of that as well. And I know that,
right, 100%.
Yeah, out of the Kickstarter program, I know that eventually your intention is that you'll be helping do philanthropic work with the work that you're doing, and so that is the main theme that I want to get across here, is that that age and wealth and the issue of how you're kind to others doesn't stem only from large gifts, but comes from the spirit that you share with people, your ideas that you want to show people the good things in life, and the
art
beauty
is awesome.
And art is awesome in that regard. And we want to thank you very much for joining us this morning. Is there any message that you want to give to the folks back up here in Miami?
Yeah, I just I'm in love with the land of Israel, and I know that it gets a lot of attention. Sometimes there's attention that's might be in a negative way, but living here and meeting the people here and traveling around the country and seeing the beauty that it has, my photography and my art is trying to share more light and bring out more beauty of the land of Israel, and show that to the world that it's a place that everyone can enjoy, no matter what religion or culture you're from. And we just love spreading positivity and, of course, human kindness. So we just we love the message, and we're happy
you're
to
very
be part of
talented.
it.
You're very talented, and I'm prejudiced in some ways, but you're very talented. I know I see the talent. I appreciate you being on with us this morning, Yehoshua.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
So that's our art venture this morning.
That was nice. I love art.
We
gotta
do
squeeze it in. The beauty of the world. That's where it is.
Absolutely.
And thanks for capturing it in your
incredible.
photography. Yeah.
You can visit Israel through his book.
Don is with us now.
Great.
And we'll talk about your philanthropy.
Okay. Dawn Franks from Tyler, Texas. I introduced you. This is the second introduction, so you're getting a lot for your time here. So, yeah. Good morning, Dawn. It's nice to see you. And Dawn is a chartered advisor in philanthropy who is in Tyler, Texas. She has written an ebook, which is called Giving Fingerprints. Very interesting name. And Dawn, tell us a little bit about your practice. As a chartered advisor in philanthropy, how do you see this profession? How have you been working in the profession?
Well, I did the certification in around 2012, 13, somewhere in there. I had already been doing a lot of work with private foundations as a part of the organization I worked for at that time, which was a local organization that was kind of a intermediary. We had a major donor that used a community foundation to pass funding through us then onto nonprofits in terms of grants that were made, because he didn't want to set up a private foundation. And then in the course of working with him, we also, the organization I was with, we also began to provide back office services to several family foundations. So it made a lot of sense for me to do the CAP certification in order just to broaden my understanding in my network, really, with individuals here in this community that were serving major donors and those families that had foundations. And then in 2014, that organization began to shut down that I was working with. The donor who had underwritten the grant making we were doing had decided long ago that a certain amount of money would be the giving goal for him. And when we reached it, then he was going to close it down because he did not want a family foundation. So I kind of have seen both sides, from families who want the next generation to learn about giving through their foundation, and a donor who said, you know, I want to give, but I don't think a family foundation is right for my family. And the work from the CAP was extremely helpful in helping me understand how to work with donors across all those different spectrums. So now my practice is serving 4 family foundations, 2 of them located here in the East Texas area, 2 of them with boards across the country and doing grant making across the country. And then 1 foundation that is just a private foundation, more independent. It's not family related at all. It has community board members. So doing a lot of back office work and a lot of grant making for all of those different groups.
So the foundations that you're working with, I mean, your role is as an advisor to them, and in that capacity, I know that you put a lot of emphasis on family and the role of family in this type of planning. When you're exploring the different fingerprints of the individuals, what's the spectrum of the family involvement? Because I assume that the fingerprints. Why don't you explain why you're using that term, the giving fingerprints?
Sure. So I determined some years ago, working with all these different individuals, came to really understand how different everybody's perspective was about giving and how they gave, where they gave, when they gave. It's just everybody had their own way of thinking about it and their own way of doing it. And so when you're working particularly with a family group who wants to give together, and yet everybody has a whole lot of different ideas about it all, I began to just see it as individual giving fingerprints, that everybody had their own fingerprint. And we start with honoring that but then also looking for where the overlaps or the similarities are, or honoring the differences in the giving that any particular family might do. So
are you attempting to focus in these when you're going through this process? Because my experience as a chartered advisor in philanthropy as well is that I find most people they really don't know what they're doing. They have no clue.
No, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Exactly right. No, you're right. So if I'm working just with a family, which I had done the Giving Fingerprints work just with a family who was never going to have a foundation, but wanted to do some kind of giving together. If I work just with that family, then it's figuring out those similarities and then finding things that honor both the differences as well as the similarities toward their giving. And so I've helped the family navigate that before in order to make the best decision. When I'm working with a foundation and they're the family members who are sitting on that board, then it is always really helpful for them to understand those differences. And it's very common now, the foundations I'm working with all have at least 2 generations sitting on that board. So understanding those generational differences and bringing that together. And then depending on the amount of grant making they are doing, figuring out whether their grants are actually falling into their different areas of interest, and just helping both the generations understand a little bit about why mom and dad feel the way they do, or what it is that draws them into the kind of giving they like to do versus what is it that's so interesting to the younger generation.
Let's talk about the younger generation. I just want to stop you for 1 second. The younger generation, sure. You use the term rising generation.
Yes. Yes.
And tell me why.
Well, so for a long time in our field, the word next gen or next generation was what was common. And those 2 words together give us a sense that they're next, but they're still waiting. It's not really quite their time yet. And so sometimes the generation that is running the foundation will feel that they want that next generation to see what they're doing, learn from them, but they're not really quite ready to start listening to them. When you turn the phrase and use it as a rising generation, it allows us, I think, to begin to see that they are coming into their own. They certainly don't know everything that the current generation knows. It may be running the foundation or making most of the decisions, but they're certainly coming into their own opinions, and they have ideas. And the generation that we work with today, they have high expectations to be listened to. And so rising basically says you're not sitting on the shelf waiting or outside the door waiting for your turn, but you are coming in and we are listening and you are rising up to this work. So it honors both sides, I think, in a better way.
So when the family has a rising generation star in their midst, the input from that rising generation individual, does it have an impact? I mean, when you say they don't know, I'm not sure that they don't know more than we know, because frankly, they've had the advantage. You know, I became a Google doctor recently. Everybody has the advantage of being a Google, whatever it is. And these kids, they know a lot. So when they get involved, does their interaction change the direction of things, or are the older parents still, I want to support the arts? What do the kids want to support? What does the rising generation want to do to change the world? What do you see?
Well, I think they will have interest in different areas. It's really become very clear to me just in the last few years that they're much more interested in justice than their parents and grandparents ever have been. They have one of the interesting things about doing the Giving Fingerprints exercise as well is that while I have provided what I hope is sort of a philanthropic oriented definition for each of the words that we use to figure out your giving fingerprints. I have found that generationally, those words still have different meanings. And so because of that, one of the things that's really important is allowing everybody to really talk about what the word means to them and how that's going to impact their giving. So I think justice is a really big deal. And while I know that the book, The Next Generation, the impact book that Sharna Goldstein wrote here a few years ago, I know that they talk a lot about how this rising generation has a lot of respect for those their parents and their grandparents. I think that's right. They were raised with those values, and I think they still do have a lot of respect for that. But they are questioning the how quite often, maybe not so much the why, because the values are there, but they're questioning the how as well as when and how fast. And I think that's going to be the biggest change, is that they will move more quickly to want to fund things that are going to change, have an impact on the culture that we're living in and what's funded and how it's funded.
So your work is obviously part of the philanthropic world, and the philanthropic world is extremely important right now for a lot of reasons. What would you say to individuals who are thinking about becoming involved in this profession?
I really think it's a great profession. I don't think it is as easy as some folks think it is, from the outside looking in. Because really the work that we're doing as advisors to philanthropists is to work to understand where they're coming from and the kind of giving, the kind of philanthropy they're interested in doing, and to help them get to their ultimate goals. And that's very different from saying, well, these are important organizations and I want to see if we can get the money there.
And what is give me just a brief success story that you are very proud of.
One of the foundations that I'm working with right now, they've been very focused on this same kind of giving for, 15 or so years. And they are a family with their 6 kids in that family. And out of those 6 kids, almost all of them have passed across that foundation at one point or another. Dad's passed on. Mom is now 90 plus, not able to participate. Only 2 of the family members are still connected with the foundation. But to their credit, they're very, very interested in how to get all of the generations and the next generation, that rising generation, involved. And so we have set up a project to bring the children of their siblings into the foundation. But that's not going to be an easy task, because families have lots of stuff in the water. And so we're working to bring those cousins together to work together to find some giving that they are very interested in doing together, and to share that with their aunts and uncles, basically, and some parents in that mix. But they have very different interests. And I anticipate, as we start doing this work, that they're going to bring some very different kinds of organizations to the mix. And there's going to be some disappointment so much, but some struggle maybe with allowing some of that making to go that direction. And yet that's what it's going to take to bring that next generation in, to bring them in and allow them to rise to their role, really.
So you are helping them in that discussion, in that debate,
yes.
in that that conflicting view, and that's one of the things that you do in your work. And thank you very much for joining us this morning, Dawn Franks. You can find Dawn on the Council of Philanthropic Advisors, which you can get to through socialcharity.org, which you'll find a place if you want to locate an advisor. But in any case, I believe your information is up on the screen if people want to get in touch with you, Dawn, and certainly get your ebook, Giving Fingerprints, so you can get more familiar with Dawn. And thank you again for joining us on Route 664. Appreciate your work.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Have a great day.
Have a good day. So, and that's the role of the chartered advisor in philanthropy, or the role of the professional philanthropic advisor, is pretty significant. And I think that Dawn brings out some of the things that people always ask me, well, what do you do? And so it's a little bit of an in-depth definition of what we do. And a lot of people do it different ways.
Yep.
Everybody has a different technique, and hers is to find the giving fingerprints of the individual. And fingerprints, again, the fact is that no two people have exactly the same financial condition.
I also love on her website that she has a library of a bunch of different books that people can also read to just, dive in on your own, and then, you can
become a Google philanthropist.
There you go. And you can actually read a book. Read a book. Pick up a book.
A lot of airtime to Google. I'm not going to do that anymore. I don't get anything back for that. Our next guest is somebody who's very important to. We had a discussion a couple of weeks ago last week about the Chambers of Commerce, how important chambers of commerce are in our communities and what role they play. I have been involved in a chamber of commerce in Aventura, Sunny Isles Beach Chamber of Commerce, and our guest Joe Gabris is also involved with the chamber. He's actually the chamber's ambassador into the community. Joe is a realtor who volunteers his time to help the chamber. Good morning, Joe.
Are
you muted?
Joe.
On his side.
Joe?
Yeah, you're going to have to unmute yourself, Joe, or learn sign language.
There we go. Yeah, I was never good at sign language. Les, Wanda, thank you very much for having me on today.
Yes, and it's good to have you, Joe. So as a chamber ambassador, you're out in the community talking to people about the Chamber of Commerce and the value of the chamber. What do you tell people is important about the work that the chamber does for businesses?
Well, the most important thing that we do is we try to tell people we're going to boost your level of exposure, because we're going to help you with your credentialing and your cataloging. Now, a lot of business owners today, what they've done is they've gone through the effort of placing their businesses online. A lot of the businesses are actually online. Mm-hmm. But the question is, how do you get to the business? How do you get to the site? Most people in the world use Google, all right? When people visit Southeast Florida—
That's Google again. That's the sixth time we say Google today. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
When people come to Southeast Florida, hopefully what they'll do is they'll come to Sunny Isles or Aventura, because it's one of the nicest places in Southeast Florida. They'll have their choices of many, many hotels, Marco Polo being one, which is in our backyard. All right, they're building a new Hilton. But as they come from Nebraska to come to Sunny Isles, who are they going to speak to? These people are business owners. Some of them are members of Chamber Nation. Chamber Nation is the same platform that we use. Mm-hmm. So if their business is cataloged in, let's say, Nebraska, they're going to look at Aventura, Sunny Isles Chamber of Commerce, ACIB. They're going to build their plan based upon the businesses that are in our area. Now, this is what I point out to the businesses in the area. Mm-hmm. If you want to reach approximately 80,000 other businesses nationwide, mm-hmm. you'd like to become a member of ACIB, which is a member of Chamber Nation.
Mm-hmm. So in the cataloging, in the process of cataloging the business or documenting the business, they have to become members. In other words, when you're helping them get through this process of cataloging, et cetera, does the chamber offer assistance with that? How much work does the individual business owner have to do once they join?
Les, that's a great question. And what you want to do is you want to supply your information. All right. The back office will take care of most of the information. Every month, you're going to get a report of the performance of what it is that the back office did for you. I just got my notice a couple of days ago. That's sent out by the back office. And then, of course, we do have our treasurer here who sends out messages also. And it basically tells you how it is that you've become more visible to the community.
So and the thing about the Aventura and Sunny Isles Beach that I think is a little bit overlooked in a lot of instances is it's one of the most popular. It's one of the most popular requests for information. In other words, people know about Aventura, they know about Sunny Isles Beach because of the population here from around the world. So is that reflected in the number of inquiries that go on the website to find this chamber?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, Sunny Isles and Aventura is sandwiched between actually three airports, because Opelika is a private airport. Each one of these airports is about 30 minutes away maximum. All right. And as people are traveling, they are looking for center locations that enjoy commerce, enjoy attractions. We do have 2 world-class raceways, fairly decent casinos. And if they want to really want to upgrade, they can go to Hard Rock. Hard Rock is also, it's only a half an hour away.
Great dining.
Oh yeah, best dining.
All right, Joe. Well, I appreciate your being on this morning with us and telling us a little bit about the Aventura Sunny Isles Beach Chamber of Commerce. Yes,
you did talk about the beaches, right? Did I miss that part?
Oh, you know, you're right.
Did you miss the beaches?
We're right on the beach. We're right on the beach. So as you come down here to enjoy the day at the casino or you enjoy the day at the racetrack, don't forget about the beaches.
Yes.
Okay. Get sunburned on the days when the track isn't open.
I think you can fly a kite too over that way. Is that Sunny Isles? They have kite flying?
Yeah.
That's Holover Park. They have a big kite display, and
yes, I love that.
They're famous for that.
It's fun.
All right.
Go fly a kite.
Go fly a kite. I'm gonna try.
All right, Joe. Thank you very much. Any other questions you want to ask Joe about the Aventura Sunny Isles
I hope
Beach
Joe and
Chamber
I can get
of
together and talk commerce fun, and maybe we can zip around to some of the businesses and get some great video. That's my plan, Joe.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Write it down. Write me down.
Yeah.
I am. And you know what we're trying to do is we're trying to arrange right now for members that are eager to become member. What we want to do is we want to put together videos. We want to interview them. So yeah, Wanda and I will be coming through the neighborhood, and I will be doing appointments. See if we can interview some of our new merchants.
Excellent. Cool. Great. Good idea.
Make sure the restaurant's there, Joe.
We have a couple online right now.
All right, let me know when you get that, because I'll be joining you. All right.
Excellent.
Joe, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. You be well. Enjoy.
You too.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks, Joe.
Bye-bye. So chambers of commerce, you know, obviously important in the community. We had a little bit of fun with Joe there, but Joe's a serious ambassador for the chamber and does get out in the community and talk to people about it all the time. And chambers have been around for a long time. I think the oldest one is about 1,000 years old.
1,000.
It's an ancient chamber of commerce in Macedonia.
In Greece somewhere?
Yeah, right. In any case, thank you for joining us this morning on Route 664, the Road to Human Kindness. And check out our Facebook page, Facebook Social Charity, and also socialcharity.org. And
the actual website.
If you want to learn more about the profession of philanthropic advisor, professional philanthropic advisor, you can find that information on the website as well. So if you're looking to change your profession, if you are already an advisor to people and you want to increase your ability to advise them in the areas of philanthropy and understand how we use the social charity devices to improve the lives of the donors, but also to improve the lives of the charitable community.
Yes.
Check it out. It's very important time for this charitable wealth to be built.
Great.
Okay. Anything
Till
else we
next
got to do
week.
today? We do want to talk about the 5 wishes. 1 second.
Yes.
5 Wishes booklet is, if you go to the website, you'll find a tag to get to the 5 Wishes booklet, which is distributed by Aging with Dignity. It's very important. It's a first step in your financial planning. If you want to call it financial planning, it's actually life planning, because it's about how you take care of making sure you're going to be taken care of if you can't take care of yourself, by having a surrogate health person is also, it's the intentions that you want to pass on if somebody needs to make decisions for you when you can't. And that's really important. So
definitely
check that out.
All right. socialsecurity.org. We'll see you back here next week. Thanks again to Miami Community Newspapers. Tommy, it's all yours.
Tommy, take it away.